the shortest and fastest event of the year. The one-day event comprised just 199 kilometers of special stage distance, compressed into 8 stages. But it's the rally that has traditionally sorted the men from the boys due to the high-speed nature of some of the mountain passes. Many of those high-speed stages are no longer used, but the legend of the event continues and is one of the factors that saw many regular national championship competitors sit it out. Just 35 entries arrived for the start of the event, which was being sponsored by Osram for the first time. An early 6 a.m. start greeted competitors in Allowal North before moving into the mountains around Lady Grey and Berkeley East for the running of the special stages.
Jeff, the Osram Mountain Trial, not only is it a one-day event which is unique on the calendar, but the nature of the course itself is quite unique.
Yes, in as much as it hasn't really changed at all over the last 20 years that the rally's been run. It's been run over the same route, well not the same route, but the same roads have been used, and I've heard it said this year that unfortunately they're not in as good a condition as they have been in the past, but we'll see, a bit rougher than usual.
Yeah, there seems to be a lack of maintenance in the area, which, as you say, with these high speeds, you want a nice smooth surface, don't you?
I think so, yeah. The speeds, you know, they say the speeds are that high. There are some stages that they will do today where the speeds are, you know, sort of normal rallies, you know, lower than normal, but there are some very high speed stages as well.
Last year we saw the Group N4 cars battling a bit at altitude with their restrictors and also with the braking. It won't be any different this time around, will it?
I don't think they have any advantage really over the normally aspirated cars. They are heavier, they're more difficult to stop from high speed, and the four-wheel drive system that they have doesn't doesn't really offer an advantage, I think, today. So I expect our winner will come from one of the A8 cars. On the top 3 A8 cars. We'll see a winner from there today.
We've seen most events nowadays, there's not too much time to be tactical. It's pretty much a sprint from the word go. But this event is even more so. I mean, there's no room for error, no room for a puncture, no room for anything really, because there's 200 Ks of competitive stage, and it's flat out from the word go for the competitors.
Yes, well, you know, I think the distance is similar. I don't think the other national events are much longer, but it's all condensed, as you say, into one day. So there is no room for error, and I think we'll see some pretty hectic rallying today.
You won this event quite a few times in the old Quattros and in the really fast cars. A lot of people say the glory days of rallying. Yet we see these current cars aren't very far off those speeds. What do you ascribe that to?
I think tyre technology. The tyres are much better than they were in those days. Yes, and suspension and things like that have changed a lot. I mean, we're talking some 20 years ago that the Audis were really on top of it. I mean, that's quite a long time when you think about it.
Yeah. This event has always been renowned. The passes are high, the danger. Tell us a bit about it from a driver's point of view.
Well, some of the stages that we have used in the past and that have been used, you know, even up until quite recently, are pretty dangerous. I mean, there's some severe drops off the sides of mountains and things, and I don't think that really worries the driver when he's out there. And, you know, with the pace note system that they've been using on this rally now for the last few years, it makes it a lot safer. The stages that they're using today are, in fact, a lot of them are in the valleys, and there's really little mountain passes and things that will be used today as such. So the rally itself was a good cross-section of both, but in the recent years, for some reason or other, the route has been not shortened but condensed, I think, into a one-day event, and that's made it, they've used roads which are, I would say, described as less dangerous or less severe. So the myth of the mountain trial being one of the highest speed rallies and the most dangerous one on the calendar, I think doesn't exist anymore.
Lawrence and Vermeulen were first on the road after Johnny Gemmell and Greg Godridge withdrew after being dissatisfied with their starting position of first on the road. The organisers had adopted a system to determine the starting order that was proposed by the competitor representative, but it meant that Gemmell had no choice in the matter, whereas the other top 5 drivers did have a choice. In many ways, Lawrence was the star of the season last year as they pushed Damso for the title all the way to the flag, despite being in a Class A7 car. The move into Class A8 had proved frustrating as the team spent the early part of the season developing the car. Although the car was born as Damso's championship-winning machine, it was effectively all new, with only the body shell carried over from the works team car, effectively meaning that they started from scratch with a Runx. Their performance had improved dramatically during the year as the Toyota was improved, and Lawrence was hopeful of being competitive throughout the event. Berger had enjoyed a strong season so far in his pro-drive-built Bridgestone Impreza. The car had run faultlessly from the first event, and he had won the production car class in 3 out of the first 4 events, with a second in the other.
Into fast right into medium left.
He was disappointed to have to retire from the previous round, but was feeling better and looking forward to a good result. He knew, however, that it was going to be a tough event, as the turbocharged cars suffer greatly at altitude due to the narrow restrictors that they have to run.
Tightens, 100, long easy left, long easy left.
Berger had flown out a technician from the UK in an attempt to remap the engine to improve the performance, but it was to no avail. Perhaps slightly demotivated, he made a slow start to the event.
Into Max Brow into easy right, Max, into easy right is flying finish, red board. Okay.
Fresh from 2 good finishes that saw them at the head of the championship table, Habich and Judd were in a confident mood going into the event. The BP Golf finished 3rd fastest in stage 1 and 2nd fastest in stage 2, but mere seconds separated those at the front of the field. The drivers knew it was going to be a sprint from the word go, and they were going flat out. Damso set equal fastest time on stage 1, but had to settle for 3rd fastest on the 2nd. He was looking to make the all-time South African win record his own on this event as he chased his 67th victory.
And fast right tightens uphill.
Kuhn was tired of losing out in recent events when he could easily have won. He proved the point with fastest times in the opening 2 stages. Lawrence's event was not going according to plan. The Toyota would not rev as it normally does, leaving it 1,000 revs down and sapping it of power. He was struggling to keep in touch in 4th position, already 2.5 minutes off the leader. Berger was still taking it easy, but was hanging the rear out and had managed to damage the rear bumper. He was down in an unaccustomed 8th position. These roads were spectacular. Let's ride with Habich and Judd.
Left 80. Right hand, easy left hand, fast left plus cut, easy left hand.
The Golf would finish 2nd fastest on stage 3 and fastest on stage 4, closing the gap to teammate Kuhn to just 4 seconds. Habich is always spectacular to watch, but unfortunately the mountain trial is a difficult event for spectators to access, leaving precious few fans out in the stages appreciating the action. Watch Habich use every inch of this road. The lead was seesawing between Kuhn and Damso. The latter went ahead after stage 3 after winning the stage, but he lost ground again in stage 4. Kuhn was driving hard. He led after 2 stages, but Damso took a 2-second lead after stage 3 when the former lost his brakes. Kuhn fought back in stage 4, finishing second fastest to Habich, but trouncing the Toyota by 9 seconds. After 4 stages, just 7 seconds separated the top 3. One of the features of the Osram event is that the stages are longer than the average, allowing drivers to get into a rhythm. However, any problem suffered in a stage punishes the crew severely. The Class A7 battle was just as fierce as the one at the head of the field. After 4 stages, there were just 2 seconds separating Fecken and Lefkovic in the BP Volkswagen Polo from their rivals. The new Polo had suffered a brake failure in stage 3, but it was quickly repaired and it was back up to speed. JP Damso and Frey were trading stage times with the Polo, and at the halfway mark, the two were almost level pegging. Due to both suffering trouble on the events contested so far, we have not yet seen a head-to-head battle for an entire rally. Nicholas Ryan and Brian Carriel had finished every event this year in their Bosel Subaru and were lying 6th in the overall championship and 2nd in the production car category. As with Berger, they were suffering from a lack of power at the altitude. Visser du Plessis and Thilo von Westerhagen suffered a puncture in their Metmeister Outsurance Subaru in stage 3, losing about 30 seconds. They then lost another 4 minutes in stage 4 to drop them out of contention. The top car BMW had been fitted with a new gearbox, and Blackman was reveling in having more usable power. He was having his best performance to date in the spectacular Beamer, holding down 5th position despite breaking a rear control arm in stage 4. Wilken and Houghton started the event off rather cautiously to slip behind rivals Visagie and Swan, but they picked up the pace on stage 4 to move into the lead of the class. Barry Grobelaar and Mike Burrows had endured a torrid year in their Sasol Subaru with numerous mechanical failures. This time the car was running reliably and they were setting competitive stage times. Craig Trott and John Costa were once again involved in a tough battle for Class A6 honours in their Team Total Toyota Corolla. Chasing them hard were Jackie Hubert and Willy van Straten in the Jojo Tanks Toyota Corolla. The two were separated by just a few seconds, but it would turn to disaster for Hubert when he rolled on stage 6 after the wheel studs sheared off a front wheel at high speed. Visagie had recovered some time from Wilken on stages 2, 3 and 4. He was now just 25 seconds behind.
Etienne, you won this event last year, all happy, and you seem to be battling this year.
Yeah, I'm not even remotely close to first overall. We're battling with power. It runs out of revs at 8,000 and just doesn't want to go through the gear. So I don't know what the problem is. We've looked at the mapping now. We've looked at fuel pressures, all kind of things. So I don't know what the story is. We went to test it yesterday, and I told them there's something wrong, but we can't seem to pinpoint the problem.
Enzo, things not looking too bad for you today? Seem to be leading by a narrow margin. Tell us a bit more. Any problems?
Very narrow margin, 4 seconds in it. So we've been just trying as hard as we can. And we lost the brakes 2 stages ago on the downhill for about 6 k's from the end of the stage. So that was very hairy, and we lost some time in that stage. The rest of the stage has been going well. And just trying to focus, hard concentration. These stages well, they're very fast, but you've got to focus on it. And the challenging part in the last stage was that the center of the road was very high. So as you come into the corner under braking, some guard hits the center of the road and you lose authority over the steering over the car, and it's really hairy because you're bouncing, and then there's like a delayed action before you can apply the brakes again. So that was quite challenging, and it's a fast bit towards the end. But I mean, these are beautiful roads, make no mistake. They're stunning and lovely to drive.
Guy, there are only 2 rallies in the season with pace notes. Your opinion of pace notes and how they're going today, and give us a bit of a rundown on it.
My opinion on pace notes, they have their place in rallying. Of course they do. We're using public roads on this rally, so to make it even, we're all allowed to have a look at the road yesterday and make our own pace notes. On roads such as these, without doubt, pace notes make it a lot quicker, but also a lot safer. So that's very good news. Very fast rally today. We're fully committed. We're leading by 3 or 4 seconds. 3 long stages to go, and we're going to give it a major crack today.
Cliff, 5th overall. You're having a fantastic rally.
Yes, Ian. All seems to be behaving for a change.
Yeah, Carl behaving, and you're obviously pedaling well. Must be that Red Bull you were drinking this morning.
That and the pace nuts. You can't get better than pace nuts. Yeah.
You're obviously a fan of pace nuts, so you think that, I mean, that helps you guys, definitely.
Ian, you cannot believe what it's like going over a blind rise, knowing the angle of the corner the other side. The safety side of it is just magnificent. You can drive on the pace, really.
And these roads, the flow nature of them obviously suits the rear-wheel drive BMW.
Yeah, I think the weight of the car, the size, the momentum, yeah, fantastic really for rear-wheel drive, yeah.
The extra weight you're carrying compared to the other 8 cars, 110 kilos or so, are you finding a battle with the high speeds to stop the car?
Yeah, it is. It's very dusty and dry. So we lose probably a second on braking because we're trying to stop an extra weight, and the acceleration. And we're running harder tyres than normal because of the rocky conditions and the weight of the car. So we're battling a bit with traction. But yeah, it seems to be working. Yeah.
Well, 4 down, 4 to go. Good luck for the rest of them.
Thanks very much.
In last year's event, Berger had enjoyed an almighty scrap with Fernando Rueda that ranged for the entire distance. The two traded fastest times on every stage, with a gap at the end of the event a narrow 2 seconds.
Medium right.
Berger's slow start this time around allowed Grobelaar to take an early production car lead in his Subaru. After 4 stages, he was 21 seconds ahead of Berger, but he then struck electrical problems that affected the fuel pump and dropped him to the back of the field. With Gemmel not taking the start, Grobelaar's misfortune gave Berger some breathing room, as none of the other Class N4 cars were close enough to challenge him. Competition in Class N4 was fierce in 2003. Berger was forced to work hard for his title as Rueda challenged him for the honours, but the latter's withdrawal from the series earlier this year on medical advice had robbed the class of a fierce competitor. Gemmel started the season as a serious threat, but the combination of a few mechanical problems and his big accident on the Total Rally brought his title hopes to an end. He has not fully got to grips with the Mitsubishi, perhaps still as a result of the after effects of his accident. His withdrawal from this event was yet another blow to the spectacle of the class. Stage 6 was the longest of the rally at a shade over 40 kilometers. Despite remapping the engine at the service halt, Lawrence's Toyota would still not rev as it should. He resigned himself to just scoring as many points as he could, and 4th overall was a good effort. This is rumored to be Berger's final year of rallying. The Pretoria-based businessman has been involved in the sport since the early 1970s, and having won 6 South African class titles and the FIA African Rally Championship, the veteran has not much left to prove. Habich's chances of taking victory received a setback on stage 5 when the Golf suffered a puncture near the end of the stage. It resulted in a broken lower control arm as he exited the stage, causing him to spin the car. Then on stage 6, the loose bonnet was a distraction and acted as an air brake to slow him still further. He lost 31 seconds in the 2 stages. Damso's chances took a blow when his bonnet catches were also left loose at the start of stage 5. He was forced to stop and fasten them down when the bonnet flew open, costing him 40 seconds and any chance of winning the rally. Kuhn had won both stages 5 and 6 to open up a 34-second lead to teammate Jan Habich. With 2 stages to go, it was a comfortable enough margin for him to win the rally, barring any last-minute mechanical problems. He had never won the mountain trial and was keen to add it to his tally of victories. A victory here would also give him a mathematical chance of still being able to challenge for the title should any of his rivals suffer more misfortune in the coming events. Fecken was reveling in his Polo's reliability and was comfortably ahead in class after rival Damso Jr. suffered gearbox problems that dropped him well down the field. Wilken was now well ahead in class and was resisting any temptation to take on cars from faster classes. He desperately needed a finish. Hubert's demise saw Trott holding a huge Class A6 lead. The result would put him back at the head of the class championship. Versace's Runnex had developed oil pressure problems in stage 5, forcing him to ease off the pace in an effort to get the car to the finish. The championship fight with Wilken was too close for comfort, and every point was vital. Mally Saville and Dean Redlinghuis were headed for their best ever national result in their auto services Subaru. Chris de Wit and Patrick Yende extended their narrow Class N2 championship lead with victory in their team total Toyota Corolla. Alan Worms and Kieran Noonan were victorious in Class A5 in their lesson engineering Toyota Taz after Gugu Zulu and Llewellyn Fourie broke a drive shaft in the final stage in their Sasol Volkswagen Chico. Despite the Toyota's engine problem, Lawrence brought his car home in 4th position overall, thereby maintaining his perfect finishing record for the year. It was frustrating for him to not be able to challenge for the win after his good showing on the event last year, but he was relatively content with a solid points haul. He had finished all 6 events in the top 5 and was still holding 3rd overall in the championship, just 19 points behind the leader. This was Berger's worst overall result of the year, but he was not complaining. 7th place was not what he had become accustomed to in recent years, but he scored maximum points in the production car category to extend his championship lead to 27 points. He also maintained his 4th place in the overall point standings. So it was a case of mission accomplished in this instance, but he will no doubt be back challenging the leaders in the next round of the series in the Cape. Habig won the final stage and was relatively happy with 2nd position as it kept him in the lead of the championship. Damso won stage 7 with an average speed of 130.3 kilometers an hour, but had to settle for 3rd place overall. Keane suffered a scare in stage 7 when the Golf hit a rock in the road and the crew thought it had suffered serious damage. It destroyed the rim, but the tyre did not puncture and there was no time loss. After all the frustration of the year that left him with 2 3rd place finishes as his best results, Keane was chuffed to notch up his first win of the year. His championship chances are extremely slim, but with the Golfs now matching Damso's Runix for pace and reliability, the last 2 events could produce some interesting team tactics from the Volkswagen squad in an effort to assist Habig's title charge. Keane was visibly delighted with his victory, his first since the final event of last year. After 200 kilometers of action, Keane's victory margin was just 23 seconds. Feckin was relieved to score the Polo's first finish, while Blackman was ecstatic to take 6th after holding 5th for much of the rally. Habig extended his points lead to 6, but he still has to drop the result of 1 event.
Jeff, 2 Golfs at the head of the field, ahead of the Toyota of Serge Damso. A little bit of a surprise, perhaps?
Yes,
First time since